Welcome to World News by Denis Halandzovskyi. If you value calm, balanced, and fact-based reporting on global diplomacy and conflict resolution, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share your perspective. Today we examine the latest developments in peace negotiations over the war in Ukraine, particularly the role of security guarantees, international support frameworks, and discussions involving Ukrainian leaders, Russia, and global partners influenced by strategic voices tied to the United States. As the war enters another phase, diplomatic efforts continue to focus on building a viable peace framework that addresses not only a ceasefire but the long-term security of Ukraine. One of the most challenging elements under discussion is the concept of security guarantees, commitments from other nations to ensure Ukraine's safety against future aggression. Security guarantees differ from formal treaty alliances like NATO. Instead of mutual defense obligations, they could involve binding commitments from major powers to support Ukraine with military assistance, intelligence sharing, economic backing, and diplomatic pressure if its sovereignty is threatened again. Proponents argue that such measures could deter renewed conflict while respecting Ukraine's desire for autonomy and independence. Leaders in Kyiv have made clear that any peace agreement must uphold core principles: territorial integrity, the ability to self-defend, and prevention of future invasions. Security guarantees are seen as a way to bridge the gap between full alliance membership and fragile ceasefires that lack deterrence mechanisms. Some proposals include multilateral arrangements involving the United States, European partners, and possibly other states willing to commit to long-term support. These arrangements could involve training, advanced defense systems, logistical cooperation, and coordinated sanctions relief, but only if agreed thresholds of peaceful behavior are met. Russia's position on these ideas has been more skeptical. Moscow often frames security proposals in terms of geopolitical balance, asserting that Western military influence near its borders is a threat to its own security. Any framework involving external powers pledging security to Ukraine is viewed by Russia with suspicion, complicating negotiations. Public statements by influential figures associated with American politics, including former leadership voices, suggest a willingness to support diplomatic efforts that offer security frameworks without direct alliance obligations. These nuanced positions aim to maintain U.S. engagement while avoiding formal commitments that require automatic military intervention. The emphasis on security guarantees reflects a deeper reality of contemporary conflict. Territorial disputes can be frozen without lasting resolution if neither side feels sufficiently protected or assured of its safety. For Ukraine, the lessons of full-scale invasion are potent. Kyiv's leaders and citizens alike see strong security commitments as essential to preventing future aggression. Promises without enforcement, empty words, are not enough. A credible framework needs clear mechanisms and accountability. Western governments have shown varying degrees of openness to such guarantees. Some European leaders argue that a coordinated security plan could reduce Russia's incentive to resume hostilities, while formal alliances remain politically sensitive for certain countries. Others caution that too expansive guarantees without clear limits could entangle signatories in future conflicts. International organizations, including the United Nations and regional security bodies, stress that legal frameworks and institutional support matter as much as political commitments. They advocate that negotiations incorporate elements of conflict prevention, humanitarian protection, verification mechanisms, and phased implementation tied to compliance. Critics of security guarantees, particularly those rooted in Western frameworks, argue that placing too much emphasis on external commitments may delay meaningful negotiations or give undue leverage to stakeholders who are not directly part of the conflict's core. They suggest that grassroots peace building and economic recovery must accompany security arrangements. For Russia, the concept of security guarantees is often framed negatively, as an extension of Western power or an attempt to curb its strategic interests. This perception feeds into narratives used by Moscow to justify defensive postures and continued military readiness. In this context, diplomats face a delicate balancing act. Crafting a peace plan that satisfies Ukraine's security needs, addresses Russian concerns about encroachment, and offers credible reassurance from international guarantors without inflaming tensions further. The evolving debate over security guarantees illustrates how modern peace negotiations are not only about ending fighting, but also about laying the foundations for sustainable stability, where nations feel protected, respected, and invested in peaceful coexistence. Thank you for watching this analysis on World News by Denis Halandzovskyi. If you found this breakdown helpful and informative, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share your perspectives. Independent reporting helps us understand the complexity of diplomacy and conflict resolution in today's world. Stay informed and see you in the next update.